want to talk about the meaning of life. So how do you find your meaning? I don't know if I'm going to answer. I'm probably not going to answer this question, but I want us to think about it. And I want to introduce myself. I'm talking about dark theology. I'm UDQ. UDQ is short for unworthy, depraved, devolved disciple. Dark theology is the theology of dark and disturbing truth. We talk about mystery, disturbing aspects of theology, hidden truth. It's good for you. It's like dark chocolate. So dark theology is not evil or about joining the dark side. Good and evil can both be dark. I want to talk about some major worldviews. There's theism, a belief in one or more gods. There's pantheism, which is the belief that reality is God. There's atheism, the belief that there's no God. And there's egotheism, which is the belief that you are God. So, in my journey, I'm a Christian. I was born and raised in a Christian home. And growing up, naturally, I think, being rather insecure in my faith, it's quite popular to believe that, all roads lead to Rome. And there's a sort of, I guess, a bit of a gravitational pull towards pantheism. But the problem with pantheism is that it's contradictory. Logically, the different belief systems don't mesh very well. So that got me into considering being an atheist, because truth is important to me. And if my faith is not consistent, how can I say I can believe in a God when, there's so many different gods out there? And it's much easier, simpler, just to take the atheistic position. However, as I considered atheism, I realized that it moves towards nihilism, which is basically there's no meaning in life. And if there's no meaning in life, well, what does it matter if there's truth? Or what does it matter if there's science and religion? And what does it matter? I could believe whatever I want. So then I started considering Anton LaVey Satanism, which is basically, I guess, an atheistic Satanism is the way you can think about it. And it appealed because it makes sense. Nihilism was making me think that, I didn't need to exist. There was no point in my existence. And this brought me, the conflict was that the importance of self. And egotheism puts you in the driver's seat, saying, you're God. You decide what's right and wrong. Here's some guidelines. And the problem I have with egotheism was I became very solipsistic and thinking that basically my world revolved around me. And I felt very uncomfortable about this. And I basically came to full circle that I would be rather, and it's an emotional decision, but I would rather not have the responsibility of being God and having to deal with the world's problems and letting a deity, a transcendent deity like Jesus, like Jehovah God, be the be God. If so, I based my argument, well, if I'm God, then what's preventing me from allowing someone else from taking my place and being God in my place? So here's the 4 major worldviews. So the philosophical tendency in theism is monotheism. Most theistic beliefs tend to be monotheistic. Not all of them. There's, in Hinduism, there's many gods. It's polytheistic. Some examples: Christianity, Islam. I already talked about Hinduism. Some people: Jesus Christ, Prophet Muhammad. Pantheism. So pantheism tends to lead towards something called universalism, the idea that all roads lead to Rome, that in the end, everybody, all religions are kind of the same, and we all have the same objectives. So some example is folk religions. Some people who either claim to be pantheists or are considered to be pantheists: Albert Einstein, Nikola Tesla. Atheism. So I already talked about this, but atheism, I feel, tends to lead towards nihilism. Example is New Atheism, and people are Stephen Hawking, Richard Dawkins. And egotheism, the last one, philosophical tendency tends towards solipsism. Example is Satanism, and person is Anton LaVey. How does one find meaning in life? If science has proven that God does not exist, then there is no ultimate purpose for life. This is nihilism. If there is no ultimate purpose for life, then there is no ultimate purpose for science either. It doesn't matter if Darwin's theory of evolution is true or not. It doesn't matter if scientific laws are true or false. Logic and reason don't matter either. Religion and art, history and sports may provide happiness to some extent. However, in an absolute sense, nothing matters if there is no God. An extreme form of nihilism is that nothing exists, including consciousness. What does a person do if there is no true purpose for their existence? So some examples of what people might do to solve the existence in life. One is the unfortunate committing suicide. They might ask, why live a life of pain and suffering when there's no incentive? Can one even live a happy life knowing that it is meaningless? There's also self-actualization, basically focusing on making the most of the potentials of one's life. Turning to religion, and or taking a anti-theistic route. I guess it's so the approach that I took, and I think I find atheism, it's an uphill battle fighting against nihilism. I think there's some atheists who've been very successful in self-actualization. But I suggest that I recommend that you turn to Christ, you turn to Jesus, and you find purpose not through yourself, because you can never really truly find the purpose for your existence. You don't know how your life's going to turn out, and you may have the best intentions, you may have goals and ideas that you want to implement, but in the end, only God really knows your life, and He knows how your life is going to influence other people's lives. So I took the approach that I leave it in God's hands. I have interests and I have ideas and I have ambitions, and I follow through on a lot of these. But I ultimately know that even if I fail, that there's some kind of purpose behind this. My recommendation is find faith in God. And if you can't find faith, I think the next best thing is to focus on doing good. Focus on doing things that are helpful, beneficial for you and society. Uh, it's easy to justify irresponsibility by saying that it doesn't matter what I do, it's meaningless. And I think it's easy to justify that. What do you guys think? What are your thoughts? Um, Leave some comments, ask me some questions. Like my video. If you think it's great, if you hate this video, just hit the thumbs down. Make sure you dislike it. But I'm really curious in your thoughts. You can also reach out to me at dark.theology@outlook.com.